Sherilyn, we have something really cool coming up in a couple minutes, right?
Uh,
Parks.
I don't even know if cool is a big enough word. I don't know if cool is a big enough word. Yes, we do. We are, after a few hours in between last evening on Gift, thanks to you, we debuted the first ever inaugural teen panel. And that was an on-time, real-time collaborative discussion. This wasn't a prepared presentation like many are. This was a discussion between teenagers from all across the globe, 6, all from different countries, who met the first time about 8 or 9 days ago. They had all expressed an interest in moving the ball forward in the age of COV and the pandemic individually. And who better to ask how to navigate the educational future moving forward than the ones who are actually in it? And I used to say in the chair, but they're not in the chair anymore. Many of them are not in school buildings. Many of them are at home. Many of them are going, I thought I would like having my mom as a teacher, but maybe not. Many of them actually are tired of looking at a screen. Who knew? iPhone, I guess, is different than having to Zoom all day long. And as a result of your gift, which allows us to meet all these young people, we're almost a year into the pandemic. So this is going away, but things are changing. And so the teen panel met. The average age is 13, they're teenagers, just by luck of the draw. And they discussed the conditions in their own countries, which we learned a lot last night about the different conditions. They learned a lot about each other. But the most compelling thing is this is the first teen panel. It's a discussion between young people across the globe. They wanted to solve problems, that's a commonality, but they also each individually expressed a desire to develop relationships with their peers across the globe. Chile wants to know what's going on in Canada. China wants to know what's going on in the US, and they want to develop relationships. And that's what they did, and we watched it in real time as they defined their current conditions in their individual countries, their challenges. And today, as a follow-up, next up, these same teens who have had about, I don't know if anyone rested, I didn't, I was too stoked by yesterday's conversation. But now there'll be phase 2 is now that you've defined the problems, some of them, what are you gonna do about them? And more compelling for us as educators and leaders and teachers and parents is what do you need us to do to help you? Because we all, in the programs, many of whom are represented on Gift, are striving to help young people through this. So just for kicks, let's ask them, and we did. And now they're going to offer not only their suggestions, they're going to offer their what they would like to see, what they need to get through, because their future's now, they're living it. And so we are going to have the phase 2 session shortly. I see my co-host, Erin. Do we have all of our panelists yet?
Our wonderful leaders are all in the house.
Right.
I would love to invite our panelists to turn their cameras on.
It's 9:01. They were prompt last night. They were early. They kept on schedule. Adults, take note.
I have to say, I feel viscerally excited to see all of you. I'm just so pumped for this conversation to continue and just humbled, I think, as Sherilyn articulated so eloquently, to get to witness your wisdom and innovation. So I think there's nothing left to say. I think this is where we disappear and we say, welcome, Teen Panel.
And we somewhat disappear because last night, as we've mentioned, they are the drivers. The young people are the drivers. We disappear. We are the guardrails if anyone needs help, but they proved last night they need no help. And even the leadership was taken on by Artosh last evening. Gratitude to you. You did a stellar job. Today, our leader is Kathy Dong. But I will relay, Kathy, I'm not sure if we mentioned this, and to our panelists, the one thing that we will repeat is in case people did not see the teen panel last evening, we're assuming everyone did because it's so cool. But if this is the first time they're seeing Team Panel, they don't know you yet. So if you would start, our leaders, Kathy, and to the panel, if you would also introduce each other as you did last night for people who are seeing you and meeting you for the first time. So take it away.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Sherilyn. Hey, everyone. My name is Kathy, and I'm super excited for this very exciting team panel session where my colleagues and I continue our discussion about virtual classes and virtual school. So we will be discussing and exploring and brainstorming our solutions to the problems we came up with in the last team panel session. It will be indeed innovation in action. So let's start with a quick introduction of our colleagues. I will start with introducing my colleague, Emily Louise. Emily Louise is from Chile. She is 13 years old and a grade 8 student. Emily was born in Belgium and moved to Chile when she was 2 years old and has been living in Chile ever since. She loves to watch movies and bake in her own time, and she has 3 dogs and 3 cats.
Hello, I will be introducing my colleague Kathy Dong. She is 14, a grade 9 student. She has Chinese parents and lives in Canada, but spent a few of her school years studying abroad in China. She likes baking, reading, and watching TV shows with her family.
Yeah, and it's my honor to be presenting my colleague Samyak Shramali from Portland, Oregon, USA. Sam is interested in the fields of biomedical engineering and deep learning. Science and innovation have always been a major part of who he is. Sam loves to innovate to help others and for the betterment of our society. Other than innovation, he also plays the violin and the piano and the swim.
Hi everyone, I have the honor to introduce Artash. Thank you so much, Artash, for your great introduction of me. Thank you so much. So Artash Nag.
Hey, Samyak, I think you're muted.
Oh, my bad, sorry. So Artash is from Toronto, Canada. He is a 9th grade student. He is interested in space exploration, robotics, and machine learning. He has co-founded Hot Pop Robot, which is a nonprofit to bring talk of science, space exploration, astronomy, and technology. And he has lots of experience with giving presentations and doing various science projects. Other than this, in his free time, he loves to swim and play the guitar.
So hi everyone, I would be introducing my colleague Natalie. So Natalie Liang is a grade 8 student. Sorry if I spell your name wrong. She lives in Shanghai, China. She's 14 and she's the proprietor of Model UN Club. Her hobbies are reading and playing volleyball. She recently attended 2 conferences, and in her conferences, they created resolution with a big block of Asian countries. Yeah.
So hello, it's my honor to be here and introduce my colleague Rashid. Rashid is from India. He's studying at a public school. He's 14 years old, just the same as me, and in grade 8. He likes golfing, and as introduced, there is still a lot of cases in India.
Thank you, everyone. Now we will move on to our solution sharing and discussion portion of this panel. So each of my colleagues will share a problem they came across during virtual school and a solution they came up with. Then we will have a panel discussion where we discuss how these solutions can be implemented internationally. For example, changes to be made to accommodate more students from other countries and any other ideas that sparked. I'm sure you are all very excited to hear these solutions as well. So let's get started with Artash.
Thank you, Kathy. So excellent. Well, one thing I really noticed when school started online is that the relationship that teachers could develop with students and students could develop with teachers was thoroughly compromised. And while students may have found it easy to some level to integrate online classes, since having been spent so much time on social media and online apps already, teachers would have had a much bigger issue because they also had to get used to the logistical aspects of online school and grading assignments, for example. So this is definitely a major problem because a teacher is not just for teaching you. It's also a mentor that can put you on the right path for school, someone who can develop a personal relationship with you and understand what are your strong points, what you need to improve in, and then customize their lesson plan to be good for everyone in the class. And I think a new approach could be, instead of having teachers just being teachers in online school, they can also become content creators. So they could take their classes and create them into cool YouTube videos. And students could even help with the editing and stuff since being so tech savvy. And this will allow students a much larger independence when it comes to learning. Instead of learning based on an instruction way, they'll be able to develop passions for subject that they're really interested in and then learn what they really want to. And to develop more collaboration between everyone, events could be organized that encourage students to incorporate other skills that they do outside of school into their school subjects to maximize the fun and passion between the students. In addition, another way I think that the understanding between students and teachers could become better is by creating a kind of council for each school or even between schools of both student representatives and teacher representatives. This way, students could come together and think of ways to make school better for everyone. In return, teachers could take these suggestions and try to incorporate them into the curriculum. Even on the other side, teachers could find things that they think aren't happening correctly over all the students, and then students could come together and try to find solutions to those problems. I think this would really improve the relationship between teachers and students in classes.
Thank you, Artash. I really loved hearing your solutions, and I definitely think kind of like a student council would really be helpful, kind of like this one that we're having, this panel that we're having right now. We're discussing how we can improve virtual classes. So now I'm curious about what the rest of the panel thinks. How should we implement this internationally, or any other ideas?
So I would say something like how Atash said, like in my school, talking about my school is connected with UNESCO, they are connected with Round Square and many more like international clubs. So it is really helpful for us. Like we are having the school council, like in my school, they are making students the leader. Like I'm here today because they made me that, yeah, let's represent. So yeah, they are like making the leaders. That's the thing. In my school it's already going on, and yeah, internationally in some schools it's also going on.
Thank you, Rashid. It was really nice hearing another perspective. Right, personally for us in Canada, we do have for each school, we often have a student council. It's a student leadership council where we organize events. But right now in virtual classes, it's really hard for it to keep continuing. So yeah, anyone else want to share their ideas?
Yeah, I would actually like to add on a little bit to the point that we're talking about. So, like more than what like a student council does, I think all of us should really take responsibility for our own learning. I think we all know that teachers are really trying hard and trying their best to adjust to this online format, and this is very new to them because most teachers have only learned to teach in the classroom, and teaching in this online format through Zoom or through other apps is significantly like a new adjustment for teachers. So instead of creating like a council, I think all of us should just take initiative and have the self motivation to just learn and have like control of our own learning and our own desires. So we should we should really communicate with the teacher over email or over through Zoom while in class and just let them know what we need. I think that would really help shape the classroom, and I think that would really significantly help our learning.
Thank you, Samyak. That you brought up a really good point. So now, Rashid, would you like to share your solution?
Yeah, so like we are talking about sharing a solution of a problem we came across in our virtual class. So like in India, all the institution, all the governments, all the institution of private and public sector, they are focusing on creativity in everything. Like in the virtual classes, the one thing I saw that we are lagging a bit in creativity. Like I have noted down the importance of creativity. Like in according to the National Education Association, in a piece written by Dawn Ruppis titled "Creativity in Classroom," she claims, "Is there anything more satisfying than making something creative? A quilt, a web page, a decoration, and invention. It involves all your senses and creates new knowledge that didn't exist before." So yeah, that's the only reason in India we are basically focusing on creativity, and that's the solution, and that's the problem for which I want the solution. Like there should be creativity in everything, and I have come with a solution to, like, we have to change our mindset first. Like we don't need to go with the traditional mode of traditional mode of learning, traditional mode of education. We need to change our mindset. Like if I'm learning today, I should not just learn the textbook answers. I should first think what is the thing, then get it and explain it in my own words. That will increase my creativity too. Like I'm using my vocabulary. So yeah, it will increase the creativity skills. So yeah, these are the things. Like we could even do ask open-ended questions for making creativity and all. Like we can even the thing teachers can do, like we would be having meaningful conversation. Like I agree with dash because I disagree with dash because, like this kind of conversation would totally lead into creativity in mind. Like there would be a tinkering in mind, like why would I do this, why would I not do this. Like total tinkering should be there, which I think, and this is very good and very necessary for our future too. Yeah.
Thank you, Rashid. I definitely agree with you on developing our creativity, and also in this new time. We're adapting to these new changes, and we need creativity and new solutions for those problems. Thank you. And I'm curious about what the rest of the panel thinks.
I agree. I mean, creativity is really a big part of students' development to be able to think as a single person. So I do think that it should be implemented in learning a lot more than the teachers telling you exactly what you have to do. They should give you an opportunity to be creative and to do things the way you want them and creatively.
Yeah, I agree with Emily as well. It's also why we're innovating and we're inventing here. We're creating creative solutions to problems we're seeing in the world. So next up, Emily, would you like to share your solutions on problems you face in virtual school?
Oh, so the problem that would be in my virtual school would be that the student-teacher relationship has really sort of broken. So students that used to go to school and be able to have trust in their teacher and would tell them that they have a problem and the teacher would give them a solution are now through a screen, and it's quite hard to have that sort of communication with your teacher. So my solution would be that at the end of each class, an extra, I don't know, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, that's a safe space for students to sort of escape, because who knows really what's going on in their household, and they maybe need that safe space with an adult that they can trust. So I would make a 15-minute gap at the end of the class where students can talk with other students and their teachers, and it can really be to help students that are going through things that are really hard. So yeah, that would be it.
That is a really awesome suggestion. I totally agree that teacher-student relationships have kind of broken in virtual school because it's really hard to communicate with our teachers, and that 15-minute period after class would really help with any questions or anything that the student doesn't understand. What about the rest of the panel? I'm curious about what you guys think.
So I have to say I totally agree with Emily Louise, because during our years later, we do the same. We have online classes, then we have similar. We have discussion with teacher after classes, so that works really well. I have to say that.
Thank you, Natalie. Next up, Natalie, would you like to share your solution on a problem you faced in virtual school?
Well, I have to say this is the problem in China. I don't know about other countries, but at least in China, it is this situation. I think that teachers like smart students. Yeah, that's the truth. Other people like smart people, but um, during class, teacher only keen on those students who are smart, get high grades in exams, and another kind of students which a teacher like emphasis on is those students who are really naughty, and the teacher need to teach them to stop doing that, stop doing this. So these kind of students will get all attentions from teachers. So what about the other students? How can they make for a relationship between teachers, and how can the teachers to communicate with them to know them better? So my solution is that we need to separate our class into smaller ones, because we have 40 students in one class in China. Is like that, and I think a class of 20 students is enough, so that teacher can know each students better and teach them, educate them, and teach something beyond knowledge, and give them chance to go to competitions, go to clubs, and yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Natalie, for that amazing suggestion. I definitely think that it's a little different in Canada as well. So in Canada, we have around 20 to 25 students in a class. So, yeah, this might be something. This might be what you're suggesting, like a smaller class. It would really help with the teacher can help the students more in a smaller class setting. What does the rest of the team panel thinks? Yes, Emily.
In my class on online school, there are about 16 people that connect per class, because there are students that don't connect. But I do think that is a good number, because the teacher has the opportunity to give each student attention and be able to explain without needing to worry that there is a student not paying attention, and they're able to explain properly. And if students have questions, they're able to answer all the questions, and no one has their question unanswered. So I do think that is a good number, especially on online school where it's not the same. So yeah, I agree with Natalie and Kathy.
Thank you, Emily. Anyone else want to share any ideas? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm really interested by all the points everyone raised, and I was interested to know. So in fact, in my class, in one of my classes, the student size is 35 for my online class, which is really high. In offline school, it was lower, but in online school, it seems that they've taken flexibility with this. But I wanted to respond to Samyak, who said that students, obviously, taking students' initiative would be the best solution ever, because if all students can take the step forward and take initiative in class, then everything would work out perfectly. except that convincing every student to take up initiative in class is a very hard task. It's like you have an anthill full of ants. Bringing all the ants outside of the anthill is much harder than moving the anthill itself. Therefore, reverting back to the student council idea would allow for a much larger kind of movement, especially since students are much more comfortable with sharing their opinion when it's anonymous or through a representative. So I think that would really help.
Thank you, Artash. I feel like I kind of face the same problem as well. I think in virtual school, because for our school board, our virtual schools are directly operated by the school board, and there aren't enough teachers to have many small classes. So sometimes, for example, for my English course this quadmester, we have a class of 32 students and the teacher has to teach 2 classes. That sums up to like 70 students in total. And sometimes students have to email the teachers as well. And sometimes I feel like the teacher doesn't have enough time to mark assignments or really get to our questions. But that brings up a really nice point. Rashid, did you
Yeah.
want to share
So I would
something?
like to share this one thing. Like earlier in India topic, we are talking about India. The teachers used to focus on the smart student, and it's a truth. Many teachers used to do this, but it's not every time. It's just sometimes they used to focus, and it would be like depending on the situation, which I think like they were according to the situation they used to interact with the students. But now talking about online classes, like in my class we are 35 students, like the total strength of my class, we all are attending the virtual class. So our teacher has done one best thing, like she interacts with all the students, like we are using Microsoft Teams, so they are arranging from A to Z alphabetically. She starts from A, ends with Z, and she covers all the students, which I feel the best, that she, in the virtual mode in which people are not able to interact, she's interacting with all the students. And even when we ask ma'am why you do so, like it would waste your time also, like it's very difficult to cover all the lesson plan in a meeting of 1 hour or 2 hour. So we asked, then ma'am said now in the new education policy of India, every person is important, every student is important, and there would be like no differentiation according to who is smart, who is a loser, and all those type. So yeah, that's the thing I noticed.
Thank you, Rashid, for sharing that. That sounds really, really awesome that the system is changing to accommodate students. It doesn't matter if they're smart or if they might not be as smart as some students. Thank you. So Samyak, would you like to share your solution to a problem that you face in virtual school?
Yeah, definitely. So, one of the main problems that I think come up with virtual online learning school is that many students are not motivated to do online school because every day feels like the same, because I think we're all at home and I think we're all learning from home while we're online school. So it just feels like the same thing over and over again. And I think teachers are really trying to get past that by putting out more creative assignments like videos to make for students, and really allowing students to bring out their creative side by giving out writing assignments or giving out video assignments or giving out just assignments like art assignments that really bring out a student's creativity. So I think teachers are trying to get to a point where students aren't bored with online learning because it just feels repetitive with the same thing over and over again. I think that's one of the biggest problems, and it could easily be fixed. Like, I think teachers are already working towards fixing this problem, but I think more actions could really be taken towards fixing that problem, even by the student side. I think the students can just try to be more motivated, or like push themselves to be more motivated by applying new techniques, like focusing on one class at a time while they're in that class, or trying to do multiple assignments at a time. Or I think I think the student interaction part really would help teachers even further to make online classes less repetitive and less boring.
Thank you, Samyak. I definitely noticed the same thing as well. My teachers have been trying to motivate us with creative assignments. So, and they've been changing their usual curriculum and assignments to accommodate this. So my teacher has recorded videos and brought in guest speakers so that we're not bored at any time. So that was really, really nice to see. But what about the rest of you guys? Any thoughts, ideas? Yes, Emily.
I do agree that motivation in students is a really big problem, but I also think that it is a difference about what the student's situation is in the household, because some students just really miss going outside and seeing their friends, and other students really like it, or other students might have a really bad situation at home, and the teacher can never know, so they never really know what to do to help that student. So I think that the best thing that the teachers can really do is just be there for the student and ask them what's going on and do the best they can to help the student through these very tough times.
Yeah, I agree with you, Emily Louise. My teacher has expressed that some students she taught this school year has really liked virtual classes so far because before COVID, they were in schools and they didn't have a very positive experience, and they felt very discouraged from sharing their opinions in class discussions. But in this virtual setting, because we're not turning on mics or cameras, they can just type their thoughts into the chat, and they're actively engaged in this conversation this way. But for some students, I feel like personally for me, I felt more discouraged during virtual classes to share my opinions because it's through a chat, and sometimes if I'm not typing fast enough, we're moving on to a topic before I could even finish typing. So definitely I agree with you, Emily, that yeah, teachers should be accommodating, and I'm really glad that I had very understanding teachers. Anyone else want to share something, maybe like even a solution that, yes, Natalie.
Well, during my online study, my teachers asked us to turn on the camera on and to turn on the speaker now. So we feel like we are in a classroom a bit. And we also have discussion time after classes. It's conversation between students, so that makes life funnier. And we really enjoy that. And I think another thing to push us to study, I know it's really frightening to have this, but I think we need to motivate us is that we have exams during online studying. So just bring us some goal. We need to work for something. We need to study for something. That's a solution I can give.
Thank you, Natalie, for giving that solution. Yeah, definitely a goal, something that students can ultimately work towards to can definitely help motivate students. For us in Canada, we canceled exams and culminating tasks, projects for this school year. We're not sure what we're going to do for the next for the other half of the year yet, but right now we haven't had any exams. It's just been all schoolwork. So that brings up a really nice point. Now we can work towards something. Does anyone else want to share any other ideas? Okay, then I guess I'll go last for the solutions. So for me, I felt a problem that I faced in virtual classes was definitely the lack of discussions between our classmates, our class discussions. So in one of my courses, one of the big parts of that course is to discuss with your classmates, your teacher, and really develop those perspectives and see a different perspective. And in the online setting, it was it was really hard to have discussions with my peers on the chats, on Zoom chats and everything. So I felt one of the ways that we can improve it is maybe we can have a live chat feature. So for example, it will be like just like speaking. So your message would appear as you're typing. It would be almost like speaking, but you would just be typing, and I think that would really help with encouraging discussions within the class. So yeah, I'm curious about what you guys think about that solution, or just any other solutions to help encourage discussions in a class setting.
I think that being stuck at home and being in quarantine and lockdown, students don't, or friends even, don't really want to talk to each other through online. I'm not sure if you guys have the same experience, but if you see each other in person, you would talk for hours and hours, and then you call yourself on video chat and you can't get a word out. So I do think that for classes, it would be really interesting to see breakout rooms where the teachers give a topic of debate or conversation or anything, and the students have to talk about it and come up with an answer. It doesn't really have to be related to the class, as long as it's for the students to engage in conversation, because I do think that is a really important part of school, is being able to debate with your classmates and talk about the topics and see everyone's opinion, because it teaches you to respect other people's opinions, even if they're not your own. So I do think that is really important.
Thank you, Emily. I think you brought up a really, really awesome point. We've only had one breakout room so far, and I felt it was really, really nice to have this breakout room because we were all actively participating in that activity. I was participating more and I felt more involved than in any of my classes. So that breakout room session was really, really nice. What do you, any of you guys think of discussions? Oh, yes, Aritash.
Oh yeah, I just like to say for the past 10 minutes, I've been really inspired hearing the different perspectives from everyone. And I just wanted to share a little bit about how I could put how I could put my own solution into place. Because these solutions, education is not country-based. Education is for everyone. Therefore, our solutions should definitely be international for everything. So one of the things I was thinking of as for a solution, uh, I mentioned the YouTube idea earlier, and YouTube is an international platform. Almost anyone can use it, minus in certain countries. But I would suggest maybe perhaps a kind of matchmaking kind of thing. So students, for example, could access a web app and tell what they're passionate about learning that's outside of school. And it could pair them up with a teacher that knows a lot about this topic. And it doesn't even have to be a teacher from the same city or same country. This can be a whole kind of international network. And this would enable students and teachers from all around the world to connect, because together it can make a really big difference. And this would definitely need for a much bigger kind of collaboration on the global scale for this to happen.
Thank you, Artash, for that amazing suggestion. Definitely, this would be this would involve everyone internationally, and it would be really, really interesting to see how all of this would connect and work. We still have a few minutes left. How about we each go around and talk about how we can implement this in our own countries. Samyak, would you like to start?
Yeah, for sure. So I think I really liked Artesh's idea with the YouTube matchmaking. I think that would really allow the student to get their personal needs and exactly what they want to learn and get them connected with the teacher who teaches that subject. So I think that's a great idea. But I think with that, I think there's a lot of YouTube videos already available. and students have that option in most countries. Students have that option. So I think what we really need is a live interaction feature for that. So instead of just having a matchmaking where you find a video with a teacher explaining the subject, I think what we need is that you get connected with the teacher and then they give you a live lesson with like 15 other students from all around the world. So that would really be an interactive, fun experience, and you would get to meet like 10 other people, 15 other people, and get to learn from them, get to learn what they do in their countries, also getting to learn your subject at the same time and getting to learn from an amazing teacher. So I think that would be a great experience. And I think that feature with any app or like on YouTube would be amazing.
Thank you, Samyak. I really love that suggestion. It would definitely help with sometimes we're bored at home with the asynchronous class time, and we can just go on YouTube and take a live class with our international peers all over the world. That would sound like an amazing program. Natalie, would you like to share your thoughts on this idea?
Yeah, I totally agree with you too. And I think it will be a really nice experience if different students from different countries can join together, share ideas, just like what we are doing now. And I think, yeah, life lessons are really necessary. And our teacher really gave us during online studying time. And that's all.
Thank you, Natalie. I definitely agree that online live classes are really, really important. It's just like in-person classes are live. Emily, would you like to go next?
I agree with Artash and Sam's point of the matchmaking app or website, because I do think it's really interesting, because I live in a city where there aren't many teachers for different subjects that are not really common. So here you either do football or there aren't going to be teachers for something that's really outside of the box. Or if a student wants to learn acting, for example, there aren't any teachers here. Or if they want to learn some exotic kind of music instrument or something that's not really common. So I do think that a matchmaking app is really interesting for people that live in a place where those teachers aren't available to teach them in person. And even if we do go back to normal, that app is going to be really useful for kids that live in rural towns and places where they don't have teachers for this type of subject.
That's a really awesome suggestion, Emily. This idea would provide a bigger variety for students who don't have access to a large variety of courses or classes or topics that they're interested in and passionate about. And this would really help with that. Rashid, would you like to go next?
So like Artash said and Samyang said, so it was a very nice idea, like collaborating with everyone is like globalization. It's very useful for us. And the one thing I thought right now is like all that we discussed, it's based on the interaction we do with all. Like we are interacting, we are knowing what are our perspective of things. So like I think interaction is more, and for doing interaction more, I think student-led activity should be there. Like we should have Braza sessions. Like in my school, we are having Braza sessions. We are having debates. We are having like roundtable discussions. We are having many different events. And the thing I said, like student-led activities. So like if there is my annual function of my school, so why not we students plan everything we are doing, and then yes, it would be a student activity, and like we would be gaining a lot of things like how to handle things, how to arrange the things, and yes, it would be very helpful for us.
Thank you, Rashid, for that great suggestion. It would definitely build our leadership skills and really develop those skills. Thank you. I was really inspired by all of these discussions and perspectives. So thank you guys so much. And thank you to all of my colleagues and Aaron and Sherilyn. And so this session really helped me to expand my perspective and I really hope that our listeners were also inspired by all of our discussions. And I personally felt so inspired, and I learned so much from all of you amazing teens. So I want to hand it back to Erin and Sherilyn now for our closing remarks.
Wow.
You want to go?
Yeah. You have been so generous and provided so much to reflect on. And I just want to assure you that you are heard and you are appreciated. And thank you for your empathy and your vulnerability and your authenticity and your generosity and your creativity and your innovation here today, and starting even in our last session, and by signing up, by putting your hand up and saying, count me in. Bravo. I'm curious, what next? What now? As we look towards the next panel and the next conversation, so much came up today. What do you want us to continue to talk about, or what do you want to continue to talk about? That's the question. What's next?
I think change really begins together, and all of us working together. I think all around the world, all of us working together would really bring out change. I think to bring change, I think we have to implement these solutions together. We should try to spread all of these solutions throughout the world. We should try to connect with our teachers and let them know of ways that they could improve online learning by giving them some solutions. We should really try to talk to our parents, try to tell them what we're feeling right now in online classes, and really tell them how they can help us really improve our online learning experience. And I think change really begins as a society, and change begins together and as a world. So I think without working together to implement these solutions, I think nothing would happen.
Sam, you just gave me a perfect segue, which you may live to regret. I hope not. I am going to ask each of you who have, there's one word missing in all the words Erin mentioned that you are. You're also courageous. It takes a lot to step up and lead. There's a difference between talking and actually, one of the phrases I've used in my lifetime is be a verb. And by a verb, I mean be visionary, be entrepreneurial, be radical at sometimes by thinking outside the box, and be a person who does with action, just as you just said. And it does start with the individual. So you think you're done? I hope not. What I'm going to ask each of you, because I've listened to varying suggestions that you've had and recommendations, one of which is more interaction with innovators or things you're interested in person. There's the next gift coming in April. Guess what? Consider, and you can either give me a thumbs up right now, or consider, I believe I've seen friendships formed in the last 10 days. I would be stunned if you all did not keep in contact with each other. I hope you do, because the bridge has been built and now it's yours to walk back and forth. And I think you offer so much. But taking to heart what you've said in specifics, if you together as a group of 6 determine of all the program presenters that you also see on Gift, some are robotics, some are music, whatever they might be, or someone else, between now and April, if you can collectively pick someone who you would like to learn from as a group, and if on the April Gift, we actually try what you've suggested, which is a small group of students for an hour on Gift with one instructor, interacting to see how it works, because as you all know, the proof is in the pudding. So teachers and worlds and administrators and organizations, they like to see, well, that's a great idea, will it work? So would you be willing to, and would you be interested in trying out at least that one suggestion? You 6, drive it, pick some subject that you would like to learn about. Could be music, could be art, could be dance, could be reptiles. My husband's up next, you might want to learn about reptiles. And then reconvene as a session in April, the 6 of you. And I would also ask that each of you pick one person to bring with. So we've got a dozen young people like yourselves, and actually demo and prototype if a live, we'll say 12 young people learning and speaking, real-time conversation on Gift. See how it works, see if you like it. What do you think? Thumbs up? I don't give you a choice on live YouTube, do I? I just have gratitude for you all. And we will also be back in touch about another thought that we had about taking everything you've just so generously given in 2 hours and acting on it. Because shame on us if we don't.
Yeah.
So, Erin?
I think just to keep this going, and in the spirit of just a moment of reflection, hoping we can revisit what we did to wrap up yesterday's session together. And I'd like to go around the space and just ask you in about one word, and I know last night we expanded on those words, which was beautiful as well, but tell us, how are you feeling right now?
Kathy, you can lead your team.
Yeah, sure. I just feel even more inspired, if I could be even more inspired right now, because with all the words that you said, you expressed, and I just feel empowered as well by talking to all of you guys and listening to all of these amazing suggestions and, of course, ideas. Yeah.
Sam?
Yeah, so I feel amazed. I think seeing all these wonderful ideas come out and being part of such a great group is really amazing. And I think I'm really inspired to go out there and make some change happen in society.
Rashid?
So it's only one word, the best. Like, it's the best team panel I have ever been. Like, I have attended many sessions before, like the roundtable discussion type of things, but this was the best. Like, it was very amazing to be a part of this and meet all the new people. Like, we are just 6, but it thought like we are hundreds of people discussing a lot of things, a lot of information we got. So yeah, it's the best.
Natalie?
Well, I couldn't be happier and more exciting, and I'm really inspired too. I'm looking forward to the next team panel, and it's such an honor to be here and talk with you guys, share my ideas. That's really nice.
Emily Louise?
I'm excited to see what we come up with and what changes happen, because it's so amazing to see kids meet up to create this change.
Do we have everybody?
Arsha.
Artash, I think.
Yep, Atasha.
Yeah, I feel really inspired by the discussions we've had. And you know what? If 6 teens from 5 different countries can come together and have a discussion about online education and collaborate, then so can countries on the governmental level, because together we go further.
Yeah, I was just thinking that this is such a powerful message. Just you guys being here, speaking together, sharing ideas and solving problems together in such a professional way, that just gives out such a big message to the world. And you really should be very proud of what you're doing. I'm honestly telling the truth here. I had tears in my eyes. I work with a lot of children. UK is a very multicultural country, and I'm from a very multicultural city and a multicultural family. And, you know, we hear about problems in different parts of the world and different leaders in different parts of the world. And to see you guys, young people, our future, coming together like this is very, very exciting and very powerful. I'm really excited for all of you, and I hope that you do nurture your relationships and you do take things further and you do continue to speak to each other and to problem solve together. And I just wondered, as leaders in problem solving with remote learning, is there one little piece of advice that you might just give out to all of the children in the world who are going through this remote learning problems. Oh, you've talked about so many problems. Is there just one sentence that each of you might just give as a piece of advice to every child in the world who's going through these changes of remote learning right now?
Yeah, I would just say, just try your best, because teachers understand what we're all going through. There are different problems we're going through in our own time, but just try your best and go for it. If you want to express an opinion in class, just go for it.
Thanks, Kathy. Anybody else got a piece of advice? Emily?
I would say you just wait. I mean, it is going to get better, and if your goal is, if you're unmotivated and you feel like this is going to go on forever, just wait. It will get better, and you can motivate yourself by thinking of that.
That's great. I like that. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd say that either way, online education or in real life education, education starts with school but ends with you. So education does not have to stop with school. The future is in your own hands, so it needs to start with yourself. So
Absolutely.
you can do whatever you want if you put your mind.
Yeah, you can have loads and loads of school education and facts in your head, but if you can't sit together in a global group like you are doing now and speaking in a professional way that you are, this is real education. This is you guys are really showing a high level of education. I don't know how many facts you have in your head and how many school lessons you've attended and if you're good students or not. I assume you are, but this is really high level educational stuff that you're doing right now. Did anybody else have one piece of advice for children across the world who are all going through the same problems as you? Natalie?
Just don't be afraid to be here, and you will learn a lot from this. Everyone will be happy because everyone will like that. You get a lot of ideas and learn a lot, something beyond knowledge.
That's really nice. Did anybody else? Is there anyone? Oh, Jim, go for it, Jim.
I didn't want to step on any of the young minds here or on their opportunity to speak, but my verb from all of you is validate. I live in the future. I'm a futurist. This is the future I wanted to see. And seeing all of you organically just talk about it as if it was a foregone conclusion that this is the way the world is going to be. Not only does it fill me with hope, it fills me with passion to make it happen. Now I believe it can, and I found warriors, and we're going to do this thing. Thank you.
And it's going to be led by our youth. And I think that this panel really exemplified the fact that when we give space and time and energy to our youngsters, it's infinite. So here's to the future, verbing together